Good morning, everyone. My name is Deanne Mazzocchi. I'm the state representative for the 47th District, House District, which covers Elmhurst, Oak Brook Terrace, Hinsdale, Clarendon Hills, Westmont, and some other areas in DuPage County and a little bit of Cook County. We're here today to talk about property taxes. And it's no secret that crippling property taxes have been a major problem for years in the state of Illinois. Illinois' convoluted and broken property tax system has been driving the high cost of living that's pushing families and businesses out of our state. Despite the fact that homeowners have been crying desperately for relief, Democrats last year failed to produce any significant action. What did we get? We got another task force. Now, Republicans took that task force seriously. We wanted to actually see and bring some real reform and relief to the state of Illinois. But rather than using the Property Tax Relief Task Force as a serious opportunity to offer substantive relief to taxpayers, the Democrats deliberately used it and hijacked it to press for the further expansion of other taxes, particularly the income tax. I wish I could say I was surprised, but frankly, the Democrats' approach to that task force was a farce from the very beginning. And despite House Republican efforts to bring forth several other ideas on property tax relief, our ideas were summarily dismissed by the Democrats who control the task force. What were some of those ideas? Pension reform so that future employees could free up money for education. That would decrease the reliance on property taxes. We wanted greater reforms to local government pension systems because our municipalities, when you look at some of the property tax levies, the pension levy outweighs the actual annual operational costs that the municipality has. Enhanced transparency on property tax bills, including informing taxpayers of a lot of key drivers of their tax bills that you don't necessarily think about, so things like the cost of litigation, workers' compensation, insurance, etc. Expanded property tax relief for seniors, including a possible way to exempt them from future increases in school district levies, as well as an expanded assessment freeze. So, here we sit, March 3rd, 2020, 2 months after the task force deadline, and still we've seen no substantive action taken by the House Democrats. Taxpayers in Cook County, they've already had to pay their property tax bills. Taxpayers in other counties across the state, they're going to be paying their bills. Again, increased bills, while another Democrat-led blue ribbon task force has failed to deliver. We can no longer continue to sit back and wait. The House Democrats continue to not take action. The House Republicans did. We filed a whole basket of bills that are designed to target exactly what people need and to try to make the property tax system more fair. And we call on the House Democrats and the Democrats in the Senate to actually start calling these bills, because we need to start moving this legislation so we can deliver some real relief to taxpayers. One piece of legislation aims to protect struggling homeowners who are on a fixed income, as I previously mentioned. House Bill 5293 creates a real senior citizens homestead school levy tax exemption. And that's going to tackle the largest part of the property tax bill that seniors see, and that is the one that is forcing lifelong residents out of the home that they've owned for decades. This bill, like so many other proposals filed by the Republicans, it's sitting in the rules graveyard. It needs to be given the fair hearing that it deserves so we can finally provide some property tax relief and comprehensive relief that our homeowners need. At this point, I'd like to turn the mic over to Dan Ugasti, 65th House District.
Morning. Thank you, everyone. Dan Ugasti. I'm representative of the 65th District, which is central and northern Kane County, as well as southern McHenry County. I will tell you that when I'm in my district and talking to people, there's not a person within that district that does not believe taxes are too high within the state of Illinois. And as far as property owners are concerned, property taxes are way too high. That's their number one priority. And this is a problem not just because our voters are telling us it's a problem. We see it in the census information we are receiving. We have a decreasing population. And the reason people tell me they're leaving my district is because property taxes are too high. And when I talk to businesses who are considering moving across state lines, that they're looking to save money, they tell me one of the main reasons is property taxes. Last year, in exchange for an amendment to go from a flat tax rate to a graduated tax rate, a property tax relief task force was put in place. You've heard about it. Representative Mazzocchi has already mentioned it. There were many problems with it, including the fact that it called for an increased sales tax, in increases in sales tax in order to solve the property tax problem. Nothing came of it. It's not what the people of Illinois wanted to hear. They want to hear about tax relief, and they want to hear about it now. House Bill 4143, the Representative Mazzocchi filed, in which I am a co-sponsor, will help school districts get out from under unfunded mandates that are put on them by the state. Over the past several years, 6 per year have gone down onto our school districts. Local governments can't create cost savings and lower taxes when we keep passing these bills. HB 4143 is a step forward in providing real relief to our taxpayers. I also filed 6 other bills in addition to some of the ones Representative Mazzocchi mentioned. On the bills I have filed, nothing's yet moved, and we've yet to hear of anything about to move. I'm asking my Democrat colleagues on the other side of the aisle to join me and my fellow Republicans in moving these bills forward. We are a state with problems, and not doing anything is not going to be an answer to our problems. Our taxpayers need property tax relief, and we're asking them to join us in helping achieve that. Thank you. Representative Brady will speak now.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Representative Dan Brady of the 105th Legislative District, and I too want to join my colleagues in their comments and thank them for all their hard work. As a member of the Property Tax Relief Task Force myself, since 1978, I believe it is, there's been 9 task forces that have been proposed by the majority party, and 9 of those task forces has not produced anything tangible for the people of Illinois. The most recent task force we've gone through has been alluded to here as the facade that it was, but we were still at the table as Republicans, and we met and we attended those meetings throughout the summer and into the fall. Legislation that the representatives have both indicated that has been proposed by House Republicans is tangible legislation that can really do something. So all we have to do is have a fair hearing. All we have to do is have the ability as representatives in the minority party to have our voice be heard on the behalf of the constituents that not only we represent, but many of us represent all across the state of Illinois. Across the side of the aisle, it shouldn't matter. Property tax relief is needed, and it's needed most by the seniors, I hear, in my district to help them. And so I call upon the Democratic majority to let us have that opportunity, to let this legislation move out of Rules Committee, and to let the legislation have its day, not only in committee, but so we can get it to the House floor. Thank you.
Hi there, Representative Joe Sosnowski. Live in Rockford, represent part of that area, but also Winnebago and Boone County. As a Republican co-chair on the Property Tax Relief Task Force, I was optimistic that we were going to make some headway, have some spirited debate, and move forward with providing some changes that would provide relief to taxpayers of Illinois. Unfortunately, from the very beginning, the committee was set up really as a sham, and what we see from a report that hasn't even been generated, there simply has been a draft. It's really a collection of a variety of different thoughts and ideas, none of which have been debated by the full task force, and really they were compiled in a draft form again by just a handful of members. It really does a disservice to property taxpayers in the state of Illinois, especially when we're trying to address what is one of the biggest problems in Illinois and is driving folks and businesses out of the state. As my colleagues have noted, despite the outcry from struggling homeowners, we have failed to act. The Democrats have failed to act. We've passed the deadline by quite a long way now and still have not seen anything. And just want to point out a couple other things. It's surprising because the task force was created with the idea that this would help support the Democrats' goal of driving the income tax referendum issue because some of those dollars may provide property tax relief. Well, you think that that would be something that they would want to continue to discuss, but as we've seen, the governor's budget makes absolutely no mention to any property tax relief. In fact, it just proposes driving up additional costs and more spending in state government. As I mentioned, the final draft report was just a collection of recommendations, none of which have been discussed at the full committee, none of which have been voted on, and again, this draft remains to be sitting in the background. So instead of bringing us closer to meaningful reform and lasting property tax relief for the families of Illinois, the task force was a complete disaster. So I'm calling on my Democratic colleagues, as was mentioned by the colleagues here. We want these bills that we've proposed, that were suggested at the property tax committee level, but that we've also, introduced in bill form to have their opportunity to be heard in committee and voted on. The taxpayers of Illinois deserve this, and we call on the House Democratic leadership to let that happen.